It's let me go live on my main page, but it won't let me go live on my.
My phone just said this meeting is being live streamed.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Alethea Brown with Mahogany Productions, and I'm joined here today with Julie Logan. Julie?
Good morning, everyone. Julie Logan, owner of Popcorn Heaven, Steel Creek. Hope you are doing well.
And we have Dion.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us this morning, live and in color on 911.
So we are the hosts from Conversations with Entrepreneurs, and today, just to commemorate the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, we really wanted to go, where were you when it happened? And so today we're going to address where we were, tell our side of the story, although none of us were there when the towers came down, but we do know across our nation, everyone remembers that moment they found out what happened. So Julie, I'll let you start.
Wow. First of all, I just want to send my prayers and condolences to all of the families that may have lost loved ones during that time. I know it's been 20 years, but it probably still seems like it was yesterday. Where was I? I believe I was at my job at the time, obviously, working away, and I started to see a lot of my colleagues go into the break room. In our break rooms, we would have TVs and everything so we could watch, the news and all the good stuff. And so it was there where we saw the reoccurring film of the airplanes that hit the buildings at the time. And it was just like, so surreal. You was like, is this really happening? Is this in our time? This really happened? Something you would see in a movie. But it just made my heart drop just to really see. They just kept playing it over and over and over on that day. And then also to see the ground people that were on the ground that was just scurrying all over the place. And so I can't even imagine what folks were dealing with or were thinking about or going through at that time. I also want to give a shout out to a very good friend of mine. His name is Curtis Beatty, who's a flight attendant on one of the United Airlines. He got selected to be a part of a Spike Lee special that is happening on HBO to tell his side of the story. I think it concludes today. So if anybody has HBO and are able to catch that, please take a look at that. For those that are still here to tell the story and tell their experience, God is with them. God allowed them to stay here for a reason. And I just want to say, God bless you all. And you all are in my prayers.
Thank you. And we'll definitely try to share that link too about the HBO special that Spike Lee is. So we're definitely trying to make sure we have that on our pages. Dion?
Yeah, fam. I was working I was in a school working in a special needs program in the school, and we were swimming at the YMCA. We used to go regularly on this particular Tuesday, we were there, just going through our routine. And so we were in the pool. The kids were in the pool, and they came and they just rushed into the YMCA and was like, everybody out of the pool. It's an emergency. We even heard the alarms. You know how they practice that stuff all the time? Like if in case of emergency, these signals would go, it was like that. And so, we immediately began, there weren't cell phones and stuff like that then. So as we're coming out the Y, the monitors in the Y is showing, like what Julie said, they're showing this plane go into the building. And it was like just the movies, like it was unbelievable. And then you saw another one, we actually saw the second one go in. A lady that was with me in the classroom that I worked in, she was from New York. She immediately started, contacting when we got back to the school. And so when we got back to the school, they closed the school down. We left. They said it was a national emergency. These words were just amazing at the time to me. I was a lot younger then, and it was, I can remember Julie was talking about the people scurrying. I can remember sights like, people leaping out of windows and even that in that scurrying, that dust storm that was coming, it was absolutely mind blowing, and I know people that know people there. Julie, I just seen this advertisement doing some work the other day with Spike Lee, for the 911 special. So yeah, we'll definitely be looking out for that. But yeah, it was a day like no other. It was mind blowing, really, to just know that had happened, and then seeing the buildings fall, oh man, it was real. It was unbelievable, And so yeah, but that's where I was working. We were in the pool, and we got out, and it was just a lot. It was a lot that whole day too.
Thank you, Dion. I think for me, it was a little different. So I just moved to Charlotte in 2001. I got here February 2001. So in September of 2001, I remember I had a contract position that had ended, and I had to go to unemployment office to see if I could get some unemployment. And I was standing in line, and they had the television on. And we were standing there, and we saw this plane go into the building. And my mindset, because I'm a New Yorker and I know how those millionaires are downtown, it's like, because there was a helicopter path on one of those buildings. So I'm like, oh, somebody rich, had to catch a helicopter or something to work instead of. And then we looked, and then we saw another plane come into the building. And it was like, wow, like what is happening in New York? My mother was still in New York. She worked for the post office out at JFK. My younger sister at that time, she worked for YMPD, New York Police Department. So I'm trying to reach them. And I think the most annoying thing to me was when I was trying to call my family in New York, I got this message, and it bothered me to no end. Due to a tornado in the area, your call cannot go through. I'm like, who did this from? Kansas? We don't have tornadoes in New York. Like, what is this? What is this? And it drove me crazy. I could not get through to anyone. And what I will say I liked about Time Warner, and I don't know how many people knew about this, but New York has their own, like we have Charlotte One, and also New York had New York One, which is that main news channel that they have on cable there. Time Warner made that channel available nationwide. And when I found that out, I was able to kind of look and watch everything that was going on. And you just see the different people coming out with all the, just the dust and the rubble from the buildings falling. And I remember when I finally got a hold of my sister, she was like, she knew she could take it because they were on what they call morgue patrol. They were taking the body parts out. And so listening to her, like, yeah, this is my job, but I'm living and seeing this like every day and having my family there. I can't get there, to them. So it was a struggle to watch it and just know that we were under attack on our soil again, and then, that's like my hometown, all my family's there, like, what's going on? Some months later, Tasia and I did get a chance to go up to New York. You couldn't get anywhere near the World Trade Center. They had Manhattan blocked off pretty good at that time. But I was able to buy a pen with the World Trade buildings on it. And it was actually a little later that year, I actually interviewed for a job at Oracle, and I had that pen on my lapel. And the manager, she asked me about it. And then she was like, oh, she goes, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize you were that close to it and everything. And what was interesting that I learned with that job was a lot of people didn't realize that when the World Trade came down, Charlotte, North Carolina was then the financial center for us. And a lot of people didn't realize that, and we were on alert here because of it. So that was an interesting take on everything that transpired that day. But it was hard as a New Yorker to be here then and know that was going on, and I couldn't get to my family. And they did have a plane that fell somewhere near JFK. You know, it wasn't just my mom, my mother, my aunt, and two of my uncles worked at that JFK postal facility. And with my sister in NYPD to sit here in Charlotte and know that this was going on in my hometown and not being able to get a hold of my family the way that I wanted to. It was a struggle.
And correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that the same day that a plane went down in DC
Yes.
as well too?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, the Pentagon, Julie.
Pentagon.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I thought. So it was just like a day of what in the world is going on. And yeah, and you're right, Charlotte was on alert because you know it being one of the top financial centers, and so just yeah, it was a crazy
It
day.
was scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was real scary. It
Went
really.
down too.
What'd you say, fam?
That third plane that went down, I think it was somewhere near Pennsylvania or something.
Mhm.
Right, I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was scary. It really had that feel of being not as protected. You know, you think you're so secure, whatever the case may be, or
Mhm.
whatever, you might have other things you facing, but you ain't never seen this coming for real,
Yeah.
and it was surreal. That was the word I was trying to think of just a little
Yeah.
while ago. It was surreal. I
Yeah.
could not believe what my eyes were beholding. I couldn't believe it.
And the thing that crosses my mind is that, you know, individuals who have such a hate for other individuals for whatever reason, it so much so that it didn't matter that they took their own life in order to take others' lives. I mean, you mentally have to be in another space, in a different world, to plan something like that in your mind. That had to have been going on for a while. And I don't want to, bring up any feelings about that. But that, as you were talking, Dion, it just made me think that we're living in a country where there are people out there who just have that much hate for other people. And you don't never know about it until it's too late.
Yeah.
And so, I say all that to say, if there's people who have some malice in your heart or for whatever reason, let's talk about it. Let's not let it linger. Let's come together and kind of figure out what we can do, because nobody's only one God. There's only one God. So
Yeah, it's interesting you said that, Julie, because they later learned that some of those people were actually living here for like 10, 15, 20 years to be like a sleeper cell, in our country with that. And again, looking at the hatred towards our country, the one thing that I remember so much, especially because of the way we're politically divided now, was then it was red, white, and blue. We were all about the red, white, and blue. You couldn't even find red, white, and blue in Walmart. People that you normally wouldn't speak to. Everyone, it was about our country, supporting our country, supporting our president, and just, randomly people waving at you. You had your flag on your car and, all these little different things. And to see how it brought us together, and then to look at how torn apart we are now. It's like a pause for thought process. Is it really worth it to be so divided? That the phrase divide and conquer is there for a reason. And we allow it when we give in to conspiracies, when we're torn apart by race. As you said, there's only one God, so we're all the same in his eyes. And it's just interesting in the aftermath of how we adjust and how we flow. And I'm hoping that today reminds people of who we are, as Americans, if we look at it that way. So it's going to be on TV all day today. We know that. But yeah, just to see, there's one program out too about the kids that were in that classroom with President Bush at that time. I've been waiting for that. I want to see that because that's an interesting take. They were 4, 5, 6 years old. So to hear their,
That would be very interesting. Yeah.
did you get the chance to watch it? I know it came on. I got to catch
No,
up.
I haven't. I've heard of it. I haven't seen any trailers, but yeah, that I thought just like you, fam. I was like, that's going to be a different way to look at it too, right? Yeah, and everything y'all guys are saying is, as I know people that are of the same faith as some of the perpetrators of the 9/11 events, and those people are extremists. Those people were extremists in what they believed, and them being led to do and all that. They're them being, Julie said, it's got to be something mental. They were extremists. You know what I mean? And it was a lot of damage, a lot of hurt, and it's y'all just saying it. You're saying it's important, and that we use moments to come together, that we learn from them on ways on how to continue to stay together, if that's the pro forma, and some of that's redefined and whatever that means, but the lack of killing people in masses at one time, we can always do without that. That is not what we're talking about, for the record, you know what I'm saying? Because I believe what I believe too, but I don't want it to be at the expense of lives. It's in such a manner that is that is, it's very violent. Whatever message they were trying to send, it had to be conflicted because of the act. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Julie, let's start with you with last words.
First thing that come to mind is togetherness, peace, hope, joy, love on each other. This is an experience or a time that I hope in my lifetime that I never see again. But I just encourage us to come together a little bit more, as Dion said, togetherness, love on each other. What's for you is for you. What's for me is for me. And so there's enough for all of us. And so we can work better together than we can apart. So God bless all of the families who've lost loved ones, and continue to stay strong.
Thank you, Julie. Dion?
I want to just echo those last sentiments that Julie just said. God bless all the families involved directly, a lot more directly than I was. God bless all the people that helped and worked to try to normalize, clean up anything, and just, God bless our country. We need prayer and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got weapons. We got money, we got resources, we got opportunities, and all of that stuff still can get mismanaged because of the hands that it's been in. And it becomes about self-serving on a mass level. So God bless our country.
I agree with both of you, and as well, God bless the families for their loss. As they're going through the tributes this week, I know it's harder for the families. As well as all of the first responders, even the 911 callers. They had to figure out how to handle those situations coming through. So our prayers are up for everyone for your continued strength through this process. The memorial, I know, brings back the memories, and we are here with you in our prayers and our thoughts and our hearts. The one thing I will say is, let's remember today that there's more that connects us than there is that divides us. That's the one thing I think as Americans we need to really remember,
Yes.
9/11, we remembered that there is more that connects us than there is that divides us.
Right.
See, if we can stay united under this, we should be united always. So God bless. Julie?
Now I was going to say, even in COVID,
Yes.
COVID is a 911 as well too. So if we can come together during the events of 911 with the airplane scenario, we can come together in this COVID-19, and it was going to take all of us to get us out of this.
Absolutely. That was a good one, Julie, because we are definitely divided with that. So yes, definitely, definitely. I mean, we're all in this together. And remember, children learn from what they see.
Absolutely.
What do we have in hopes for the next generation? I know, but I don't want my daughter to have to live through. You know, so let's be mindful of that as we go on today and through all the different memorials that are out there. There's more that unites us than it is divides us. We are America strong.
Amen.
Everyone have a great day.
Have a good one, y'all. Be safe.
Have a good one.